Hey guys, Santa here with another deck profile. Today we're going to be going over one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. You can see him chilling back there as well. Today we have a Gengar EX deck. Now, this is by no means the strongest deck in the game, but it is pretty strong. It is very consistent, and it's very, very obnoxious. So we are going to get straight into it. We play 3 copies of Gengar EX. If you are unfamiliar with this card, which many of you may be, because it's not very common, it has the ability Gnawing Curse, where whenever your opponent attaches an energy from their hand to one of their Pokemon, they take 2 damage counters. This ability works when they attach from hand for their turn, for your once per turn allotted attachment, but this also works with abilities like Teal Mask Ogerpon EX. It also has the attack Tricky Steps, which smacks for 160, and you may move an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon to one of their benched Pokemon. So, with that being said, the entire objective of this deck is to manipulate damage counters and manipulate your opponent's energy to just make their time a whole lot harder. So, it only swings for 160, but there are things we can do with that. Now, we only play 1 Haunter in the deck. This is more of a rare candy-based deck. You could play 4 Gengar as well if you want to, because the ability Gnawing Curse does stack. So if you have 3 Gengar on board, every time they attach, they're going to take 6 damage counters. That is 60 damage just for attaching an energy. So we play 1 copy of Haunter. You could play more, but again, this is a rare candy-based strategy. We're not even going to talk about Badoo here. If you spend your entire life worried about Badoo, you never know the great things that are going to happen. You never know what you could miss out on. Not every deck is going to play Badoo, and they're not going to be able to item lock you for the entire game. And if they do, dude, just scoop it up. It's not a fun game anyways. But we play 4 copies of Ghastly. Now, this guy does only have 60 HP, so it is a little bit susceptible to Dragapult, but his Mysterious Beam attack, this is the one that we like to use, or this is the Ghastly that we like to use, rather. It's Mysterious Beam attack, flips a coin, if heads, discard an energy from your opponent's active. So, once again, we are doing a lot of energy disruption, and that is kind of the name of the game for this deck. We also play 2 copies of Pidgeot EX. With its quick search ability, you are able to search any 1 card from your deck once per turn. This does not stack, so if you have 2 Pidgeot on board, don't do that, because you won't be able to get 2 searches. Again, as a rare candy-based strategy, we do not play the Pidgeotto, but we do play 2 copies of Pidgey. Honestly, I really only played this one because it's a fun illustration rare. It's probably a little bit more advantageous to play the Call for Family variant, but with Gust smacking for 20, you also play Monkey Dory in this deck, so we can do some damage counter manipulation to get around Badoo a little bit. We play a bunch of support type Pokemon. We play 1 copy of Lumineon V. This is a great card to search you any any supporter card and add it straight to your hands. This is really, really good to search things like Arven in this deck. You can also search Boss's Orders. Have definitely done it before. Play 1 copy of Rotom V for the instant charge. If you're going first, this is a really nice Pokemon to slap down onto your bench, so you can just draw 3 cards and end your turn. Now, for the fun stuff. Play 1 copy of Pecharunt EX. With its Subjugating Chains ability, once during your turn, you can switch one of your bench Darkness Pokemon except for itself with your active Pokemon. If you do, that Pokemon is now poisoned. That might seem like it's bad, but let me tell you, we play a Binding Mochi in this deck to take advantage of being poisoned. More on that later. Play 1 copy of Blood Moon Ursaluna EX. This is a great late game attacker. Its attack costs 1 less energy for each prize card your opponent has taken, so if your opponent has 1 prize card left, you can smack for 240 for free. Play 1 copy of Monkey Dory. I've considered running a second. Space is really, really, really tight in this deck, though, so it's kind of hard to find room for basically anything. Play 1 copy of Manaphy to keep your benched Pokemon safe. Now, come rotation, this guy's going to have to come out, as well as the Radiant Alakazam with its Painful Spoons. This is, again, how we start manipulating damage counters around. So, with our Gengar's ability, stacking 2 damage counters every time your opponent attaches an energy, we can use our Painful Spoons ability to shift those 2 damage counters anywhere else on the board. I have won a game against a Ho-Oh-V deck that I was playing against with one of my good buddies at a card shop, and that was basically the only way we won the game. We had to Ultra Ball into the Radiant Alakazam, swap some damage over, search for a Boss's Orders. Because this is a rare candy-based strategy, we are playing 2 Duskull, 1 Dusclops, and 1 Dusknoir. I have not had any problems with this ratio. My only problem is that I don't have any Pokeball Duskulls. Just to match the set, because these guys are absolutely insane in most decks, and I love textured cards. That is it for our Pokemon count. It is very, very large. Moving on to the supporters, we play a good handful as well, because again, we play the Lumineon, so we can search a good amount of things. Play 3 Arven. Could justify running a 4th one. I haven't really found a need for a 4th one. I feel like the numbers are fairly okay in this deck. We got 2 copies of Iono, just a great disruptive card, and can definitely help fix some clunky hands in the beginning stages of the game. Play 2 Boss's Orders. I think 2 is really, really important in this deck, just to be able to actually pick off things, because moving your 2 damage around and only smacking for 160, or again, we can smack for 200 if we have a Binding Mochi attached. I feel like Boss's Orders is really, really good in this deck to be able to pick and choose when and where you can actually take knockouts. Play 1 copy of Janine's Secret Art. This is one of the best cards in the absolute entire deck. You get to choose up to two of your Darkness Pokemon. For each of those Pokemon, search your deck for a basic Darkness Energy card and attach it straight to that Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. If one of those Pokemon is your active, it is now poisoned. So we have multiple ways to poison our active type, or our active position Pokemon. So it's definitely worth running the Binding Mochi. I'm playing 1 copy of Giovanni's Charisma. I actually think this is like one of the only decks that this card can be viable in. You put an energy attached from your opponent's active Pokemon into their hand, and if you do, you can attach an energy card to your active Pokemon from your hand. So again, just energy disruption, very, very fun. This is one that I'm actually trying out. Eerie. I guess both of these next supporters are ones that I'm trying out. I think they're really nice just for generalized disruption. Your opponent reveals their hand. Amazing information to be able to get. And you can discard up to 2 item cards you find there. Even if there are no item cards in their hand, the ability to see everything that they have is absolutely crucial. We're also running 1 copy of 06 Machinations. Your opponent discards cards from their hand until they have 3 left. So, if we can drain their resources and shift their resources around, that is basically the entire objective of this deck. It's to just be very obnoxious and mess with your opponent's setup as you get your own setup going. Now, moving on to the items, got a decent stack of them. Like I've said a few times, this is a rare candy-based strategy, so we are running 4 of them. Absolutely amazing, amazing card. I've seen some people run Grand Tree in this deck, which can help you get around Badoo and still get into your Gengar from a Ghastly. Personally, I'm a big fan of the rare candy build, just because, again, you can't spend your entire life worried about what Badoo's going to do to you. But if you run the Grand Tree, then you also have to run more copies of Haunter, and I just don't feel like that's worth it personally. Run 4 copies of Buddy Buddy Puffin. You can get Duskulls, but we're mostly getting Pidgeys and Ghastlies out of our deck with these, which is very, very good to get our setup going very quickly. We play 3 copies of Ultra Ball. I haven't found a need for more. Because a lot of the times the cards that you're going to be searching with Ultra Ball are basically going to be your Pidgeots, your Dusknoirs, and you can also search your Lumineon with this guy, because you don't really want to Nest Ball your Lumineon, because then you won't get its effect, because you have to play your Lumineon from hand to be able to search a supporter. Playing 1 copy of Nest Ball. Could probably justify running a 2nd one, potentially getting rid of an Ultra Ball, but I haven't really had any problems with it yet. Run 1 copy of Super Rod. Just a fantastic card in the late game to be able to keep your resources going and flowing. And play 1 copy of Dark Patch. This would be a good card to potentially run a 2nd copy of, but with the energy count in this deck being super, super tight, I haven't really found a need for more than 1 Dark Patch, and all of these items are searchable under Arven, so I feel like you really don't have to run too thick of lines. Now, because we are running Arvens, we also got a decent number of tool cards. We're running the Forest Seal Stone because we play both a Rotom and a Lumineon, so we have multiple V targets, even if we prize one of them, that we can search this tool. And Star Alchemy is just a once per game Pidgeot. So between Forest Seal Stone and Pidgeot EX, we are getting a whole lot of searching. We can toolbox basically anything we need from our entire deck. Play 1 copy of Binding Mochi, as I was saying. We got attacks used by poisoned Pokemon that this card is attached to do 40 more damage. So that pulls up our fairly pathetic 160 damage off of the Gengar and beefs it up to 200, which in combination with the Monkey Dory and the Radiant Alakazam can actually stack up decent numbers. That'll get you to 250, which is pretty decent. You're going to be two-shotting most Pokemon with this deck, but there's not a whole lot of one-shot decks running around, so I feel like it's generally pretty safe to rely on your two-shots. Run 1 copy of TM Devolution. Again, we're just trying to be very, very disruptive with this deck, and there's a lot of times where you can stack up damage counters onto your opponent's Pokemon in such a way that if you use Technical Machine Devolution, you will just straight up take on Knockout. So I think this is a card definitely worth running. We run 1 copy of Handheld Fan. This sees some play in Snorlax, but is otherwise not generally run as a good card. If the Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, even if it's knocked out, you can move an energy from the attacking Pokemon to one of your opponent's benched. So between that and your Tricky Steps attack, you're going to be shuffling energy all around their board and just putting it in places where they don't want it to be. If you start putting energies onto, say, a Lumineon, a Rotom, or like a Pheasantipity, you're in pretty good shape. Now, we do play a Stadium, play 1 copy of Artisan. Again, you could justify running Grand Tree in this sort of deck, but I just don't think that build is as consistent. Artisan just lets you get one of your Ghastlies, Pidgeys, Monkey Dory, your Duskulls, any basic Pokemon that does not have a rule box. Gets it straight from your deck right onto your bench. Very good card for consistency. For energies and our Ace spec, run 1 copy of Neo Upper Energy. Again, you could run Grand Tree as your Ace spec. I have seen a lot of people run Unfair Stamp, which has a whole lot of merit to it as well, just because, again, this deck is very disruptive, so being able to shuffle both hands into the deck, draw 5 yourself, and draw 2 on your opponent, pretty decent, but it does require one of your Pokemon to be knocked out on the previous turn. I like Neo Upper because you can attach it straight to your Gengar, and instead of 2 Darkness, it is 1 Neo Upper, and you can start smacking. For the energy, we only play 6 Darkness energy. I haven't found a need for more. There is technically a world where you prize all 6 of your energy. If that happens, man, GG, good luck. That is very unlikely to happen. If you prize 5 of them, you're in pretty rough shape, but I guess if you prize all 6 of your energies, you're still fine with Neo Upper. If you prize all 5 of your 6 and a Neo Upper, then you are kind of mick-boned, but considering we play the Duskull, Dusclops, and Dusknoir, there's potential that you can use those to get knockouts to pick up prize cards to keep your game going. But overall, this deck has been very consistent. I really like running the Pidgeots and the Vs. I think it does a whole lot to be able to just toolbox anything you may need out of your deck. This thing is super fun. Don't think it's going to be winning any tournaments anytime soon, but this could be something that can take your locals by surprise. So, that has been my Gengar deck. As you all know, I am a huge Gengar fan, so I am absolutely enamored with this deck, and I've been trying to put some good love into it to make it as consistent and strong as possible. If you guys enjoyed the profile, definitely leave a like on the video. If you love Pokemon cards, drop a sub to the channel, man, because we do deck profiles and we open Pokemon cards all the freaking time. In the meantime, I've been Santa, and you guys have been awesome. I will see you later. Thanks, guys.